How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. The results are in. We have the reports coming from every single entity that has over $100 million that now holds Bitcoin ETFs. I want to go through some of the top holders, show you who's buying, what's happening behind the scenes, some other big news that has to do with Bitcoin ETFs here today, and in turn has an implication on Bitcoin and will affect the other cryptocurrencies prices as well. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this. And if you do want to trade cryptocurrency, you can trade over on Margex. So you can start trading in just a few seconds. There's no KYC. It's a great place if you want to long or short different crypto assets, and you can use all different forms of collateral as well. Now, as you can see, we had this, let's just break this down really easy. We had this big run up. We fell down a little bit, retraced, moved back up, lower high, move back up, higher, low, move back up, a little bit of a higher high, but pretty much just double topping here, closed at about the same price, there, and then we started to break down into this channel. Now we just broke out above the channel yesterday. We had a big move, and we also moved to a higher high. So we had a lower high, then another lower high, and then it looked like maybe we get another lower high if we just got rejected here, but instead we broke out above this area here, and now we're closing in on 67, trying to close above 67. If we do that, that's extremely bullish, and I would not be surprised if the market just flipped. I mean, this does look a bit like a reverse head and shoulders here. You can see the head here, shoulder, maybe another big leg up here. So, maybe you do want to put on a long trade. And I think a lot of this green bar here, this, what is that, $6,000, $5,000 move yesterday, a lot of it just comes down to everyone and their brother buying Bitcoin and everyone seeming to get more bullish as they see the 13F filings. We've been talking about this. This weekend I talked about how this could be a crazy next 48 hours, and that was, or 72 hours, and that was moving into Wednesday. So yeah, it was kind of crazy. We got a big move on Bitcoin. We broke out the channel. A lot of other altcoins are moving, and we got the reports about a lot of people buying. We've been covering it every single day, but there are a couple more that came in. First of all, a lot of buying from the ETFs yesterday. Nothing from BlackRock. Weird. Every other ETF saw an inflow, but BlackRock didn't. What are they doing? What are they planning? I'm not sure, because they did have a large amount of volume. I believe they had over 1.2 billion in volume, and it's still odd to me that there's not a mismatch, a slight mismatch, a $1 million mismatch. Maybe there's, let's say there's 1.2 billion in volume. Maybe there's 599 million of people that are selling and 601 of people that are buying, but that's not the case. Apparently zero inflows. Again, just very odd. But Fidelity had a big inflow day. ARK had a decent day. Bitwise had a big inflow day. 86 million there. Grayscale with the second best day ever. 27 million flowing in there. So you can see this is the net assets by day. The second largest inflow day, the third day that they've had an inflow. But it does seem like Grayscale's bleeding has kind of stopped. Now it's just puttering around. Some days it's plus, some days it's minus. But yeah, a lot of decent buying from these ETFs. And maybe it's people that are getting FOMO after seeing all the other 13F filings. Maybe it's institutions that are getting FOMO after seeing those 13F filings. Maybe it's people realizing, hey, we're not alone. We should keep on dollar cost averaging into this asset. 13F filings show Millennium Management holds roughly $2 billion worth of Bitcoin ETFs. They own 844 million of IBIT. Now, how's this stack up? Well, they are now the largest Bitcoin ETF holder that we know of. The single biggest holder yet, 1.4 billion, is held in IBIT, GBTC, FBTC, BITB, ARKB. Okay, I found out where they're wrong here. They had FBTC holdings of 752 million, not 388. So they are right around a $2 billion Bitcoin ETF position. Now they have assets of 505 billion, so they're still not even at 1%. I saw someone say they're at 3%, but based on this, they're under 1%. Now that is kind of nuts, right? That means that they still have a long way to go if they want to get to a 1%, 2% allocation. And that's the case for a lot of these holders, right? Some are 20, 25% Bitcoin ETF holders. Some are just trying to get up to 1 or 2%. And it does take time, right? They don't want to just go buy $5 billion worth of ETFs in a day, right? They don't want to push the market like that. We haven't seen anything like that. No, they dollar cost average. They buy over time. And if we move up a little bit further, if we close in on this 67,000 mark and we go above it, let's say we move above it to 67,300, we will see a lot of liquidations, a lot of short liquidations, over $3 billion. So if that happens, that will probably send the price spiking up further, significantly further. So yeah, be on the lookout for some quick moves if we continue to move up. And we are hitting all-time highs on the S&P 500. We broke out from the previous resistance. Maybe Bitcoin does the same thing. You can see how similar these are. I mean, they do move in lockstep. Not always, right? They don't always move up or move up in the same amount, but these lines hold pretty close. And I think that's because when people feel generally positive about the S&P 500, they feel generally positive about Bitcoin. So yes, they are on different scales as well. So just because it doesn't look like Bitcoin has performed as well as the S&P 500 from the bottom, that's not true. Bitcoin's outperformed, but they're just fitted to different lines. But you can see S&P 500, big rally recently. Maybe Bitcoin does the same thing. Also, according to Hunter Horsley, who is the CEO at Bitwise, one of the ETFs, apparently he spoke with a sovereign wealth fund who's mining Bitcoin. He says probably nothing though. So yeah, another person or another entity that's getting into Bitcoin, and they were probably already buying Bitcoin. I think most entities that probably mine Bitcoin have some Bitcoin, have an idea of what Bitcoin is, obviously. And usually I feel like you jump into mining after you bought a little Bitcoin, understand it a little bit better, especially if it's a sovereign wealth fund. Like they did a lot of due diligence, so they probably held some Bitcoin. But yeah, they're going and increasing the hash rate, increasing the security of the network, getting more invested in Bitcoin. And just think about it from a market perspective. Who do you want to be mining Bitcoin? A sovereign wealth fund or, I don't know, a company like a S&P 500 company? Personally, I think the economics of having a sovereign wealth fund make more sense or are more beneficial, because sovereign wealth funds are probably more likely to hold on to their Bitcoin. Like when I think about a sovereign wealth fund, their job is to put assets or put wealth into areas that will appreciate over a long time. They have a long time horizon. I don't imagine them going to Bitcoin and just being like, okay, we need to sell everything. This is just a cash flow asset for us. No, they're probably mining Bitcoin because they realize that at some point it's going to be very hard to buy Bitcoin. Like there's not going to be much on exchanges. This is way more work for them as well. So I think that they realize that there's not going to be much to go around, and they're going to have to literally mine it if they want a significant amount of Bitcoin. So yeah, really interesting there that a sovereign wealth fund is mining Bitcoin. Let me know your thoughts on that underneath the video. And then CME Group, maybe the biggest thing today. CME Group to launch Bitcoin trading amid high demand. So in the changing face of finance, CME Group, the world's largest futures exchange, is preparing to delve into Bitcoin trading. Based in Chicago, the industry giant is strategically aligning itself to cater to the growing interest among a wide range of investors in delving into the cryptocurrency market. So according to reports, CME Group has been in talks with traders eager to engage in Bitcoin transactions with a regulated environment. While the plan is still pending finalization, its potential implications mark a significant milestone in the widespread adoption of digital assets. Now, what does this mean? In my mind, it means options trading, right? CME deals with options, futures, This allows people to hedge bets. This allows people to be more aggressive. This allows people to get cash flow. And I talked about this before, but this opens up new investors that wouldn't normally buy Bitcoin, but yeah, maybe they'll buy it now because it can produce cash flow if they sell some covered calls. Or hey, I don't necessarily love Bitcoin, but I'll buy a put. So or I'll sell a put, a cash secured put. So I'll buy your Bitcoin ETFs if it falls down 10 or 20%. And until then, I'll continue to get paid by you because you can offload it to me. If it crashes 50%, I'll just buy it when it's 20% down. So I'm not saying that's me, but there will be people that think that way. They want optionality. They want to be able to hedge bets. They want to go more aggressive, maybe even. And they can do this with Bitcoin miners. But at this point, as far as I know, you can't trade options with the Bitcoin ETFs. And some people really want that. I know some YouTubers that really would like that. So yeah, there will be people that jump into crypto. I think it's going to be a smaller group of people, but there are other implications as well, right? Maybe some institutions feel more comfortable if they can hedge their bets if Bitcoin goes up significantly. So they see that maybe we're approaching 100K and they want to sell a covered call because they don't think we're going to hit 100K or they don't think we're going to close above it. They think there's going to be a resistance there, so they can get paid to do that. So again, I think there will be a lot of people that are interested in that. Andrew Tate is interested in buying some Bitcoin too. He says he's about to leave fiat completely and ape in over 100 mil into Bitcoin. He said he'll even prove it. He's done with the banks. He's done with their money. He's done with the scams. Then he's going boating. He says he has not done this yet because he does have more fiat he has more crypto than fiat already. But he's just ready to leave fiat completely. Now, I am not trying to get into the politics of Andrew Tate or what he does, but he does have a wide influence. 2 million people saw this. Some people are probably like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I'm sick of the banks too. I'm going to go put in 100K or $1 million or $10,000 into Bitcoin. Honestly, Andrew Tate, if he does this, he might have more presence than ever because he can go and point to say, hey, I put my entire net worth in Bitcoin and it doubled, right? Something like that. Or, hey, maybe he has more influence now because he's worth $200 million, right? If Bitcoin goes and doubles. So, yeah, maybe he's not as crazy as some people think if he's making these big moves. Now, of course, this would have been quite the move if he had done this towards the bottom, right? Can you imagine if he had done this at 15,000, 16,000, 20,000, the amount of gains here? That would be nuts. He could be a billionaire maybe in quick fashion just from Bitcoin. I mean, think about that. You put in 100 mil at 16,000 to go up to 160,000. There's your $1 billion. Maybe one of the best trades that we've seen from a social media influencer of all time. But he did not do that. But he's talking about loading some money into Bitcoin now. Let me know, what do you think about that? Would you ever put a significant portion of your net worth in there? And just think about it as more leaving fiat as opposed to making it an investment. Let me know your thoughts. If you do want to trade crypto, if you want access to more capital, you can try out the link to Margex. Depending on how you position it, you can put, let's say, $100 in there and get access to $1,000 of Bitcoin, $2,000, $5,000, even $10,000. I don't go for the 100Xs, but you can get access to more capital. Just know that there are risks to it as well. So make sure you understand that. I do have some videos on the channel too. If you didn't know that, you can just search My Financial Friend Leverage Trading. They give you some tips and tricks and explanations for what leverage trading is. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. It seems like everyone is jumping in. I mean, we have banks, countries, institutions, hedge funds, pensions, all jumping into Bitcoin. So it is interesting. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I will see you in the next video. Bye.